we are.
So for our second video for Assassination Classroom, we are going to talk about Karma Akabane.
Mm-hmm.
He happens to be my favorite character, so I'm going to probably let Fairy do most of the talking so I don't go on long rants.
Alright, so let's start with some background. So Karma Akabane comes from a very wealthy family.
But his parents travel a lot, so they're not home very often.
Which takes quite a toll on Karma, as it would on any child, though, with absentee parents.
Yeah, they're fascinated with a lot of other cultures, hence his name. He actually likes his name, though, so.
So Karma is actually very intelligent and was part of another class before class 3E, and
he's not in 3E for his grades. He's in for disciplinary problems. He is actually frighteningly violent. Like, that's his, first answer, to beat someone half to death.
Yes. Now, Karma did have a teacher who told him while he was in middle school, as long as he did right, then he would be fine. So his grades were excellent, but
that's why he got away with a lot, because he was one of the smartest kids in school. In the show proper, he's either consistently second in rankings on everything basically, or first.
But one day he saw someone from the main campus beating up a student from class 3E, and
I'm not sure if it was beating up. I know that they were giving them problems.
Or just harassing them in general. And
they were doing something to a class 3E student, and Karma violently intervened and beat up the bully. That got him in trouble, though, because the bully was very, very smart.
And that was the first time his teacher told him that he did wrong, and that caused him to be transferred to class 3E.
Well, no, he got transferred to class 3E because he also beat up the teacher, because the teacher was like, what the hell is wrong with you? You can't do this. I won't help you because I want to get better at my job, I want to advance, and I can't do that if you're, beating up my best students.
Right. So beating up the teacher ultimately got him transferred to class 3. Bless you.
Thank you!
Now, when Karma first comes to class 3E, he just seems he's just very cocky, and he's not very interested in the other students. I mean, he knows Nagisa because
they're friends.
They were friends. But their friendship actually kind of deteriorated a little over an incident that happened when they were hanging out.
No, it wasn't really an incident. Because Karma started pulling away for his own reasons.
Because he dropped his guard and he was vulnerable.
Yeah, it was more because Nagisa, even before the Assassin's training, was very good at, disappearing from your scope, and Karma didn't like that. It made him nervous, so. And then Nagisa got put in 3E. When Karma gets to 3E, he is very gung-ho on trying to kill Koro-sensei, rapid succession, one attempt after another, over and over and over, which puts Koro-sensei on his guard, so nothing actually works. And he is also a very, very big prankster.
He is.
He likes pulling things on people.
Yeah.
And everyone is, on some level, terrified of him. Except for Okuda. She doesn't see it.
No, she doesn't.
But it's actually funny with her because according to like guidebooks and stuff for the manga and anime, they have the most easygoing, I guess, friendship between a boy and a girl in the class.
I think it's because they're both so smart.
Maybe she's good at chemistry, and her grades slipped for like things like language arts, which is why she got 3, but she is very smart with science. Like, she's like the best in their year at science. But yeah, they have a very pleasant friendship. Like, you see them like hanging out, like you don't really see them like interacting much, but you'll see them like in areas together. And like we never see them having issues, and he even told her what his biggest fear was, which I think is big for Karma.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he is one of the main characters in the show. He gets a lot of focus. And one thing, backing up to the prank aspect we spoke of earlier, one thing he likes to do is torture people with spicy stuff.
Yeah. People aren't happy about that.
They're not.
But then again, who would be?
No one would be. So, his arc in the show is mostly about opening up to people. Because he doesn't really need to improve with his combat stuff. He ditches a lot, and he's still one of the best in the class.
Yeah. He's pretty much up there with Nagisa. But one thing that we do see that kind of gets Karma in trouble sometimes is his cockiness, like during exams.
Yeah, one of them he doesn't do so well because he's like, I'm so good, I don't need to study.
Yeah, so he avoids...
He does well.
But he still...
But he gets nowhere near the top.
Yeah, he drops down a rank, and Koro-sensei...
Multiple ranks.
And Koro-sensei proceeds to tell him, I told you so, many times after that.
Yeah, but he learns from that. And he works his butt off from then on with his studies.
But as Dragon said earlier, a lot of his character arc is getting him to open up to people and,
you know, making actual friends. You know, like we said, like it was a big deal that he actually told Okuda what his fear was, and that happened to be not feeling fear. Because it makes you like compliant, and then it sets you up for a lot of surprise, and it's a big thing because she doesn't get it, so he does explain it. So if you watch the show, and it's not just with her. You know, his friendship with Nagisa, it comes back because, as we said, they became estranged for a while. And by the end of the series, it's a lot stronger because they've gone through stuff together, like, not just the typical, but, you know, they've grown as people together, and they have this fight, because as we mentioned in Nagisa's video, they're on opposing sides of this big argument, and they're the leaders of both sides, and they get into a fight over it, verbally and physically. And Karma, despite still disagreeing with what Nagisa wants to do, he backs down, which he doesn't normally do.
And something very interesting about Karma that happens toward the end, like, I believe it's in the time when they're placed under house arrest and they're trying to plan on what to do. Karma actually encourages them to run away from a fight at one point because they're really at a low advantage, but they want to keep
Well, this is well
fighting.
after the house arrest. It's after they've broken out. But they get cornered in this bad situation that they don't really have much of a chance of winning. So he calls for a retreat because, in his words, it's a acceptable strategy. So
Still very surprising from Karma, though, in a way.
and he's a very good field commander.
Anyway, so at the very end, when the big decision has to be made, Koro Sensei does do roll call one last time. Karma.
He's crying.
Yeah.
This is the only time you ever see Karma crying in the show.
And he's not wailing like the rest of the class, but to see him shedding tears
he's crying just as much, it's just he's doing it more quietly. And we also find out that he does start reaching his ambition to become a bureaucrat. That actually gets some surprise from Koro Sensei, but Karma explains, during the last earthquake, bureaucrats who were controlling the politicians were what kept the country going. Koro Sensei's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense, actually.
So yeah. That's pretty much Karma.
Yeah. So shall we get to the sections?
Yes, we shall. So first, does he work as a character? Well, yes. He's a lot
different from the other characters, though, but...
Yeah, he's definitely more sadistic, and like Dragon said, he loves pulling pranks, and he's
even drawn a bit differently. Like, his eyes don't reflect light, like all the other characters' eyes do. But that kind of adds to his unsettlingness, which I think was the point.
Which is also... I always found it a little weird, mainly because his eyes are gold, so you think they reflect a little more light, but they don't. But I think it is to show that Karma is definitely a darker character compared to the rest of his classmates.
Yeah.
And he definitely has the ruthlessness and the drive that I think you would see in some assassins, which, I mean, it's kind of hard for him to not fit in with that. I mean, he definitely...
That's more said, not...
True. Sorry. Forget that I said that.
But yeah, as a character himself, he does grow. He doesn't grow as much as some of the other characters do, because he's still essentially the same person, but he becomes a lot nicer, at least to his friends. He's a lot more open, and he recognizes more of the merits of hard work. And, he's just fun to watch.
He is fun to watch, I will say that. So on to our next category, I guess. Does he work in his settings?
Well, yeah, he's a sadistic assassin in an assassin anime.
I mean, he does definitely stand out personality-wise from a lot of his classmates. And
as we said before, most of them are on some level terrified of him.
I'm not sure if Nagisa's really scared of him, though.
That's why I said most.
Well, then again, Nagisa knows him, so...
Yeah, so... And, he has the skills to do what he's being trained to do. He's a bit more gung-ho on the whole killing thing. Like, we see him a bunch of times casually take out a knife to try to kill Koro Sensei. It never works, but...
He really wants to kill Koro Sensei.
And unlike the others, he's not really in it for the money.
Yes, because they were promised.
There's a bounty on Koro Sensei's head. So most of them are in it to get the money, because it's a lot of money. Karma's more in it because he really wants to kill a teacher.
Yes. So again, standing out from his classmates, but again, he's in an assassination classroom training to kill his teacher, like the rest of them. So on to our last category. Do we like him?
Well, I've already mentioned he's like my favorite character in the show, so
She loves him.
I do. He's fun to watch.
No, I like him too. He's definitely fun to watch. He is unsettling at times, being
That's half the fun in this show.
being that he's so sadistic, but not gonna lie, that is
It never really gets to scary territory.
no, it doesn't. And watching him grow is very fun, and I admit when I saw him shedding tears at the end, that actually got me to cry the first time I watched it. Because I was just like, oh my god, even Karma's shedding tears, no. But yeah, I like him too. Just not sure if he's my favorite, but overall he's a very, very fun and pleasant character to see.
Alright, so I guess that's it for this video.
Yep.
2 down, 2 to go.
So what do you guys think? How do you feel about anime characters that are a lot like how we described Karma? Leave us a comment down below.
Check us out on Instagram, Tumblr,
Twitter.
There, it's the same as our account name for here, so there'll be links below to that.
And we'll see you in our next video. Bye.